Hey, what's up, guys? So today I'm talking about what traditional martial artists can learn from mixed martial artists, or what traditional karate guys can learn from MMA. Just a little bit of background about myself. I am a karate black belt. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've taught MMA before, done Muay Thai, done all the popular modern day sports. I did the hard karate Kyokushin. I've done the traditional karate. I say the biggest thing that traditional martial artists can learn from MMA, it's not any particular technique, not any skill set or any hidden move that's gonna defeat another martial artist. What they can learn is a mindset, and that mindset is to always be searching for a better solution. I think karate is stuck in a historic mindset. And this is coming from me from a perspective as someone who's looking at karate as a form of combat, self-defense. And a lot of people, they look at karate, they train karate for different reasons. I've talked about that before. And a percentage of people look at karate and train karate as a historical artifact to kind of preserve an old way of teaching. My only gripe against that is, if that's what you're going to do, say that's what you're going to do, but don't claim that you're going to be able to use that to defend yourself if you needed to. That's not to say purely traditional karate guys aren't able to defend themselves. It's about the methodology of training and the mindset, right? And I'll elaborate on this mindset. So I rarely see karate guys, and I say karate guys as the majority of people who practice karate, looking at new instructionals online or looking at new techniques to try in class. Most of the time, I see karate guys fixate on, hey, what's the difference between your kata versus my kata? Why is your hand placed like that? Or they're focused on making their hips snap better, making their punches snap, making their gis sound better when they punch. There's fixation on creating an image of something that looks powerful versus actually creating something that's practical and applicable. And I say this mindset too because if we're thinking about self-defense against another person, that person is not the same person that we were training for hundreds of years ago, 200 years ago, 50 years ago. Everyone's watched some MMA. Everyone knows some boxing or some Muay Thai. Not everyone's extremely coordinated. That's a different thing. But the attack patterns that you're looking for are completely different than a Japanese samurai trying to strike you with a sword on top of the head. A lot of the defenses that we train against prearranged movements, against prearranged patterns that most karate people think are still used today are definitely not. Just even thinking about somebody grabbing you behind your head in a clinch, like a plum or a tie clinch, and throwing knees up the center. I strongly believe that most karate guys don't know how to deal with that. Again, I'm grouping karate people into one large group, and there are definitely pockets that train a more resistant, more hard style, more modern style of karate and have a modern approach to it. But I'm saying karate as a style in general, um, there's definitely lacking there in the mindset, right? And mindset also goes into training methodology. Are you looking for better ways to pass on knowledge beyond just how you were taught or beyond just doing kata down the line in a group? There's a place for that. There's definitely a need for coordination drills, especially solo drills that you can do without an instructor and at home, and solo drills that can help you get coordinated in your movement patterns and be able to execute techniques on demand, right? However, fixating on that as a majority of your class time, I feel like it's a waste of everyone's time in the dojo. Because you imagine like a working professional gets off at 5, commutes home at 6, class starts at 7, scarfs down food or doesn't eat food, takes the 30-minute drive there, and then he has to sit in Seiza as he watches kids do kata down the line. Now it's 8 o'clock, 8:30, he gets some mitt work in and some kata, and that's the end of class. And then he has to do the 30-minute drive back, and now it's 9 o'clock. So if you imagine a paying working professional that's paying for possibly some self-defense techniques, some fitness, some camaraderie, some ability to uh, move around and get something physical done with another adult, it's just a waste of their time. And I would say it's not the instructor's fault entirely, only because most instructors just teach how they were taught. But again, it goes back to the mindset. Are you providing the best service you can to your students if you're just doing exactly what you're told? And again, the caveat here is, are you teaching karate for historical preservation with a little bit of fitness? Or are you claiming that this is self-defense and they're learning in the best way possible to how to defend themselves? And that's something you need to ask yourself as a dojo owner. This comes to mind because I see a lot of MMA instructors, they reference other MMA instructors that they see online, or they come to class and say, "Hey, I just saw this on Instagram. Let's try it out, see if it works." I've never been in my hundreds of karate classes. Never has an instructor come in and say, I looked this up. I saw this today. Let's try it out." Other than my sensei that kind of started me on this path, and that's a shame. I mean, there's a reason why there's such a negative perception of karate in society today. It's not because karate was never a strong art. I just posted on Reddit a couple weeks ago about um, how was karate seen pre 1980s, pre Karate Kid, right? And people were saying it was, if you had a karate black belts, that meant something. People kind of feared that. Nowadays, you have, you know, a 7-year old, 6-year old with a karate black belt that they earned in 6 months or something ridiculous like that. I'm not really in those circles, but yeah, I say to you, if you are a karate instructor, you have to ask yourself, are you doing the greatest service to your students? And that also means, are you being proactive in the way you teach? I've been in training sessions where people aren't proactive, right? And I talked to my buddy about this. Like, the default thing for training sessions amongst people who are kind of passively training is just comparing katas. And it's like, hey, show me your naihanchi and I'll show you mine, and let's talk about it. Let's go back and forth and see what the difference is. Um, and that to me speaks volumes to like the hobbyist karate guy who is really just trying to collect katas as if they're, baseball cards or collectibles that you're just trying to amass a whole database of, versus taking one kata and just drilling it to the ground, doing partner drills with it, putting resistance to it, pressure testing it, all these keywords that people use, right? Um, so yeah, there's my rant for today. Just think about your mindset, why you train and why you teach, and are you being true to yourself, or are you being true to your students? Are you providing the most value you can to them? And if not, um, do you have the energy to do make that change, right? Do you have the energy to be a little more intentional with your teaching? And maybe you don't, and that's something you got to think about.